See, this is what we're hoping for. Well, this is part of our hope. Not only that we are members of the elect with fruits meet for repentance, like John the Baptist said, but from our lower state, because we've been brought low, even though we have this knowledge, we have this truth. Remember what it said in Revelation. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. Why are we rich? Because we're rich in faith. We have this knowledge. So our hope is at our last end, we're going to be increased. Okay? And if you ask me, the greatest riches right now is to be delivered by Yahushua, is to get that new body that the Apostle Paul spoke about in 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter, to get that, get that new body where we'll never be sick, we'll be immortals, like it said in 1 Corinthians 15, to be delivered from the coming destruction, and to be a part of Yahushua's cabinet in the next kingdom. Okay? Those are the real riches right now. That's what we want to get. Because if you get that, you got everything. I mean, you got everything. Okay? So our sights are set a lot higher than this present world. All right? As it is written, the fashion of this world shall pass away. We are individuals of vision. And the scripture said where an individual lacks vision, he perishes. Okay? So we can see the future. All right? And we hope that we're going to be part of it, beginning with the elect.
The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. And if children, then heirs of God, and joint heirs with him. If so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of God. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who hath subjected the same, in hope, because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body.
This is exactly what the Most High is going to do with his elect, with the nation of Israel in general. Because the nation of Israel will be a nation of superhumans on the planet Earth. And this is what's coming.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua. Pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. And what I want to get into, this morning, dealing with the battles, the battles that led up to Hanukkah, which is a feast, of the victory over Edom, which is known as what the Feast of Dedication, which is referenced, in the Gospels, of John, that that it was a actual feast, that our people continue on, even, beyond, the time of the Greeks. Even in the time of the Romans, they were still, reverencing their feast. All right, it was representing victory, all right, over Edom, okay, and the rededicating of the temple. All right, and as we rededicate ourselves to Yahweh B'Shem Shai, this is leading, okay, to the victory over Esau Edom. And that's why it's a big push, to continue to spread confusion. Even if our people find out they're Israelites, Esau wants to control the narrative where there's confusion, where our people really don't come back to a standard. Okay. So when you get, matter of fact, let's get, if a brother can post Isaiah 59 verses 1 and 2, let's get Isaiah 25 and 8. Let's get 1 Corinthians 15 verse 57 and 58. So I'm gonna cue up this video. Our brothers load them precepts up for me. All right, and that's Isaiah 59 verses 1 and 2, 1 Corinthians 15 verses 57 and 58, and Isaiah 25 and 8, 25 7 and 8. Bob Bishop. So let me load this up, and pretty much, all right, this is from their channel, Kings and Generals. A channel I watch pretty often, dealing with history. They got pretty good, history documentaries, and they go into the origins, of Hanukkah. Okay, they're gonna go into the actual battles, that led up, okay, to First Maccabees 4 and the 4th chapter, all right, which goes into the account which led to their feast, okay, which we'll get it. All right, I just want to show, the actual battles and what was going on that led up to it, and we'll jump in and out of Maccabees, here and there. And what this shows also, this documentary, it shows the accuracy of the Bible when it comes to history, okay? When it comes to secular history, it shows the accuracy of the Bible. You see, the Bible is full of prophecy and records and history, all right, from the perspective of the Israelites. Okay, these are things and events that actually happen. Okay, and historians, all right, will tell you the same. Okay, now Esau does try to downplay the miracles of the Most High. Okay, you'll see, they try to downplay the miracles and try to, quantify it as, some type of military term or strategy, but ultimately it was the Lord having favor on our people, all right, for their obedience and their faith. Okay, they was able to beat back, all right, the Greeks and have victory over Edom. Okay, so I got it queued up, so let's get these precepts and then we'll get straight to the video. All right, now one thing about it, all right, this the brother Bayan Yashala. Okay, one thing about it, Esau Edom, is fighting to keep confusion going amongst our people. Okay, he wants our people constantly in a state of confusion and uproar. Okay, division. Even those that know that they're Israelites, as this awakening happening, he wants to infuse confusion in it. Okay, that's why he'll push a platform that pushes you an Israelite, but he doesn't push a real standard to go with it. Okay, and that's what has separated our people from our power, is us falling away, okay, from a standard that was set. All right, falling away from faith, okay, and our power. Now, this is Isaiah 59:1 said, "Behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened that it cannot save, neither his ear heavy that it cannot hear." Okay, so there's no infirmities or shortcomings on behalf of Yahweh B'Shem Shai. It's not that he's not able, to get us out of this situation. Okay, but what's the holdup? You see, and this is something that's not addressed amongst our people. Okay, here it is. You're trying to go to Africa, but you're not addressing, okay, the source of the problem. verse 2. It says, but your iniquities have separated between you and your power, and your sins have hid his face from you that he will not hear. Okay, and Esau wants us to keep us in the perpetual state of iniquity, because being an Israelite doesn't equate to righteousness. Okay, and that's why you have the book of Galatians where he was telling them, look, just knowing that you're an Israelite doesn't equate to righteousness. Okay, faith, first off, faith, okay, has to be a factor, and that faith leads to obedience. Okay, and Esau wants you to equate just to know that you're an Israelite but still have no standard. You're cool, all right, but he knows that this keeps you separated from your power. Like you had Jake with the name of the Lord cut in his hair, okay, but he was lined up. You see, so he knew who he was. He knew he come to understand who his power is, but there's no standard there. Okay, and as we are rededicating ourselves, dedicating ourselves back to our power, we understand that there's a standard that we came back to. Okay, not just a name. Okay, as far as the name of Israel, not just our nationality identity. Okay, we come back to a standard in the authority of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, and it's all through faith. And we do these things through faith. Faith is the foundation of everything. Okay, now let's go from here. All right, this is the brother. This is the brother Corner Waff. All right, Isaiah 25:7. All right, from the brother GMS Prayer, always hope for elect. Isaiah 25:7. It says, and he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people. Okay, and what we're seeing happening, all right, is the truth is becoming common knowledge. Okay, the Lord is destroying the covering cast that Esau has put over all people through his reign of deception. Okay, start from the Renaissance period until now. It says, in the veil that is spread over all nations. Okay, verse 8. It says, he will swallow up death, okay, in victory, and the Lord power will wipe away tears from off all faces. I think verse 9. Brother can put Isaiah 25:9 too. I think that's a point in there I wanted to get to, Baba Shah, All right, it says he will swallow up death in victory, okay? And Esau, Edom, is like the representative of death in the earth. He's the embodiment of death in the earth, man. His ways, all right, his philosophy, his science, his all leads to death, okay? So victory over Esau, because Esau heavily influences death in the earth. Okay, first, the influence of death is going to be removed from power. Okay, and then we're going to be changed. And that's going to be the victory over death. All right, the new covenant. You see, us being changed. Okay, and that wicked influence of Esau, Edom will be, all right, ended. You see, he influences nothing but death, abortions, drugs, wars. Okay, the alphabet community. Okay, he influences death. It says, and the Lord power will wipe away tears from off all faces, and the rebuke of his people shall be taken away from all the earth. Yeah, the rebuke that we have, these curses. Okay, and it says, for the Lord have spoken it. So that's the decree. There's a victory promise. See, we still have an expectation of a victory promise. Okay, we have that expectation. Okay, we still await a victory. We've had victories before. Okay, like I say, as we celebrate the Feast of Dedication, it sees the spirit how today you have our people. They're celebrating their own downfall, the destruction of their own people. Okay, Jake is celebrating the destruction of their own people, man. Dealing with Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving. Here it is. You're celebrating Esau's victory over us. Okay, but the Lord has the spirit to show that we have, been separated from this world, that we're separate, we're reverencing, all right, our victory over them. You see, victory over Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Okay, verse this is Isaiah 25:9, brother Beyond Yasha'Allah, and it shall be said in that day, lo, this is our power. We have waited for him, and he will save us. This is the Lord. We have waited for him. We will be glad and rejoice in his salvation. Okay? We're going to rejoice in his salvation, his deliverance. We have waited for him. And that's what we have to look forward to, man. You see? This is a hope. This is an expectation we have in another victory over Esau, Edom. Okay? This is what we await, man. And that moment when we're delivered, man, and we're just filled, we're going to be filled with that rejoicing of everything that we waited for and expected and hoped for is going to come to pass, man, in this salvation. So let's go here. Let's get it's the brother Yashima, tribe of Judah. Okay, 1 Corinthians 15:57 said, but thanks be to the Most High, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. Yeah, thanks to, all right, the Heavenly Father, okay, which set up Yahweh Shah to give us the victory, man. Okay, we're marching towards a victory, man, a true victory over the enemy, man. Okay, Kyrie Irving being allowed to play basketball is not a victory. Okay, the true victory, all right, is when America is destroyed, the so-called white man is removed from power and put into captivity. Okay, that's true victory, man. Yahweh Shai, all right, establishing the throne of David in the earth. That's true victory, man. Okay, us being changed and having victory over sin. Okay, being made perfect with the new glorified bodies. That's the victory, man. Okay, so as we reverence, the victories of our forefathers, all right, there's still a victory to come, okay, that we await. All right, this is Yashima, tribe of Judah, 1 Corinthians 15:58. It said, therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Okay, and we're abounding, which means going above and beyond. Okay, because we know this is what faith kicks in. We know that there's a reward, all right, for the labor, man. Okay, so we're being steadfast and unmovable. And you go into the feast of dedication, okay, our forefathers, beginning with Mattius, okay, the father of the Maccabean brothers, okay, they was unmovable. Okay, to the point where they took an empire to war because they was unmovable, okay, in the righteousness of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, and it was through faith. It took faith to do what they did. In no way, they would have did that if they didn't have the faith that the Lord would intervene and aid them, man. Because they were doing it for righteousness, man. Okay, so I'm gonna get this, and we'll go in and out. Go into some a few accounts of the Maccabees. It'd be good, to read the book, of Maccabees, and then come back to this this video, okay, and just get understanding, So I leave a link, all right, to the video in the description or in the comment. Let's see, so you can read Maccabees and watch the video over, and just drive home and understand it. It'll stick. When you do your own reading and research, it sticks. So yeah, got it queued up. All right.
Every winter, Jewish communities across the globe come together in celebration of the festival of Hanukkah. The image of the menorah and its iconic 8 candles shining through the dark winter night.
Now, it says Jewish, okay, but we know that this is speaking of our people, man. Okay, not no ish. Okay, it's a southern kingdom. All right, the Jews, okay, Israelites, okay, mainly Benjamin, Judah, and Levi, okay. Not, you hear the word ish, you automatically think of small hats, but no. All right, this is speaking of our people, okay.
Jewish communities across the globe come together in celebration of the festival of Hanukkah. The image of the menorah and its iconic 8 candles shining through the dark winter night is one of the most visually recognizable aspects of traditional Jewish culture. But from where does this ancient holiday ritual stem? To answer, we must go back 2,200 years to a time when the descendants of Alexander the Great ruled in the land of Judea, and tell a story of the ancient Jewish people's struggle to win liberty against the forces of the Hellenic world. Our sponsors allow us to release videos regularly without missing a beat, so shout out to Supremacy 1914 for sponsoring this video. Supremacy 1914 is a free online PvP strategy game, a rarity as only a few developers choose the Great War as their historical setting. In Supremacy 1914, you lead a real country during World War I and fight up to 500 other players in real-time games that can take weeks to complete. You can and should choose your own and 1 month of premium subscription for free. The offer is only available for 30 days, so don't waste time. We've also created a special game for the first viewers to click the link. Details will be shared at the end of the video. By the era of classical antiquity, the independent kingdoms of Israel and Judah were in terminal decline. As a result, the history of the Jewish people soon came to be defined by the carousel of foreign empires that took turns conquering and subsequently ruling the ancestral Hebrew homeland. First came the Assyrians, then the Babylonians, then the Persians, who ruled the Jews with a reasonably fair and light hand. Finally, in 332 BC, the Macedonian phalanxes of Alexander would steamroll the Achaemenid Empire out of existence, establishing Classical Greek as the dominant language and culture of the Near East. It is here that the Jewish people became subjects of the Greek world.
And also, brothers, could get into the book of Maccabees and just post scriptures that's relating, to what's being said in the video. First Maccabees 1 shows you, like I say, this shows you the accuracy of the Bible. Now here it is, the Bible has all these accounts, okay, of secular history, but then when it comes to the power of Yahweh Shema Shai, then there's doubt. When it comes to the miracles of the Bible, then there's doubt. Okay, when people question if the Israelites existed, people question if the Messiah existed, but people don't say that Alexander doesn't exist. Okay, the Macedonian Empire, the Greek empire, they don't say those things exist. Okay, but when you go into history, it lines up exactly, okay, in the Bible, man. You see? So when you get, I'll just get it real quick. Like I say, we brothers could, if it's not inconvenient, for you, it's kind of postscripts in the Maccabees dealing with, the things that's going on in the documentary. But this is first Maccabees 1. And I'll start at at 1. And it says, and it happened. All right. Yep. The brother got it. Well, okay. The brother got it here. Yep. So this is the brother Sup with Hawashah. This first Maccabees 1:1. And it happened after the Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, all right, that he reigned in his stead first over Greece. Okay? And this is exactly what is being told here. Okay? Showing you what? The validity of the Bible. You know? But you're going to have, all right, that doubt when it comes to the Bible because of the power. It takes faith to believe in those miracles attached to the Bible. Okay? Verse 2, it says, First Maccabees 1:2, it says, it made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. Okay? And this is what we're seeing happening. Okay? And you can link the Macedonians, okay, to Haman. And you can link Haman, okay, to Agag, which is what? An Amalekite. You see? Small has, here it is, these small. Now, was this anti-Semitism by the Greeks? No one has committed more anti-Semitism than Edomites, man, the so-called white people of the earth, man. Even, you know, that that little situation that happened in you know, in Germany, you see, that was by other Edomites. Okay? The so-called. Okay? This is First Maccabees 1:3. It says, it went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. Okay? And he gathered a mighty stronghold and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And Judea was included in that. Okay? And it's going to go into it. All right, the water for that, brother. You know, I just I gotta see where brothers at now. You know, keep you on your toes a little bit. You know, so you know throughout the video, anything out of the book of Maccabees that relates to what's being said, you know, we post it, kind of go through it.
Alexander died, his massive Macedonian empire fractured into several monarchies, ruled by his closest comrades and later their descendants. The so-called Diadochi kingdoms were constantly at war with one another, and the region of Judea, being situated in the borderland between the Ptolemies of Egypt and Seleucids of Syria, became a battleground where the two Macedonian dynasties jockeyed for power and influence. Despite this, life remained fairly peaceful for the Hebrews. The Hellenistic kings generally used the same light touch the Persians had, interfering very little in the region's culture, religion, and internal politics. The Jewish people were ruled semi-autonomously by a high priest of the Judaic faith, who handled matters both religious and secular from the Great Temple of Jerusalem. In 198 BC, Antiochus III had finally expelled the Ptolemies out of Judea, putting the region firmly under the suzerainty of the Seleucid Empire. He lowered taxes and affirmed the Jewish people's freedom to live by their own faith and laws, and for now, Judea was content. Throughout world history, we often see subject peoples of a multi-ethnic empire willingly adopt the language and customs of said empire's rulers in an attempt to improve social mobility, so many Jewish peoples began to practice the Greek culture of their suzerains. This phenomenon, known as Hellenization, was perpetuated mainly by the upper strata of Jewish society.
So now you see the Hellenization and the Greek influence amongst our people. And see, if you don't understand this history, okay, the New Testament, it will be forever a mystery unto you. Okay, you would think that the Bible is speaking about salvation for all peoples and nations. Okay, but if you don't understand this history, that the New Testament will always be a mystery to you. And it says of Jewish society, see what will happen is the higher ups, okay, of Judea, the merchants, the wealthy priests, the aristocrats, okay, they will begin, all right, to make, to be more business savvy, okay, and to have more opportunities. They will begin to pretty much take on Greek culture and Greek language, okay, as the brother had. You see, his first Maccabees 1 and 11, the brother supped with Yahushua. In those days there went out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are around about us. For since we departed from them, okay, we have had much sorrow. Okay. So Jake, all right, wanted more convenience. Jake wanted to move up, in the social ladder of society. Okay. And this is what Jake was into. All right. Converting to Greek culture for benefits, just like today. Okay. The more satanic you are in this society, the more benefits you have. Okay. The more easier life is. Okay. All right. These are just old sellouts. And you get, if a brother can post Second Maccabees, let's get Second Maccabees chapter 4. And we just going over the social, climate that was going on. Jake was converting. That's why the dedication was so vital, because a lot of people was converting, and forsaking Yahweh Bashim Shai. Okay. So let's get Second Maccabees chapter 4. 4 and 9. Let's get Second Maccabees chapter 4, verse 9 and verse 10. And that'll be the point. All right. Second Maccabees chapter 4, verse 9 and 10. It's just good to understand his history and the lead up to certain situations. Okay. Understand the backdrop, what was going on, what was happening. Okay, the dynamics, of our people, amongst, the Greeks, man. All right, now this the brother Bayan Yashala, Second Maccabees 4 and 9. It says, besides this, he promised to assign 150 pieces. Now this is Jason, the brother of Ananias, who Ananias was a righteous high priest. Well, his brother Jason, all right, was Hellenized, okay, and he wanted to use the high priest office to influence Jake, okay, to be like unto the Greeks, okay, so he would have perks and benefits, all right, of the higher ups in the Greek society. It says, besides this, he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set up a place for exercise and for the training up of the youth in the fashion, okay, of the heathen, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians. Okay, just like Jake called himself what? Americans. Okay, you call yourself after an Edomite. Okay, that was Jesse, all right, Jackass, all right, Jesse Jackass Jackson, who came up with that term African American, man, who pretty much marketed that term. So he came up with, but he pretty much marketed that term on our people, man. Okay, called himself out of two Edomites. Okay. The Second Maccabees 4 and 10, it says, which when the king had granted and he had gotten, all right, into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to Greekish fashion. Okay, his own nation unto Greekish fashion, man. So this is what we're seeing happening during this time period. And that's why the New Testament reads like it reads. There's neither Jew nor Greek, because this happened. This actually happened to the Israelites, man. Okay, people try to, try to compartmentalize, the history of Israel, like it was just, just Israel just being Israel all the way throughout history, like nothing ever happened or changed amongst these people, man. There was a scattering, there was a Hellenization, all these things happen, man. Okay, before the Messiah, all right, whom the world even called Jesus Christ, came on the scene. Okay,
namely the wealthy priests, merchants, and aristocrats in urban Jerusalem. The Hellenization process was expedited in 175 BC, when the culturally traditionalist high priest, Ananias III, was deposed by his Philhellene brother Joshua, better known by his Greek name Jason. Jason would go on to wield his power as high priest to begin transforming Jerusalem into a classically Greek city by building a gymnasium and an ephebium, essentially community centers for Greek education and learning. He also sent Jewish athletes to compete in a mimicry of the Olympic Games hosted by the king in Tyre. There he offered a sacrificial tribute to the Greek demigod Hercules, to whom the games were dedicated. Perhaps his most radical policy was to allow non-Jews in Jerusalem to set idols of their gods within the Holy Temple itself. The fact that the high priest was openly tolerating and even promoting the polytheistic gods was deeply disturbing to many Jews who clung to their monotheist faith. This sentiment was especially strong in the poorer, rural communities of Judea, who had clung far closer to Orthodox Judaism. A strange situation was made worse in 175 BC, when one Antiochus IV Epiphanes became the Seleucid Basileus. Various ancient accounts describe him as a proto-Nero or Commodus, that is to say, erratic. His sobriquet, Epiphanes, meant manifested from God, but among his people he was secretly known by a variation of the title, Epimanes, which meant madman. It was him who in the first year of his rule supported Jason's coup against Ananias III, hoping a pro-Greek high priest would help Hellenize the Jews. However, only 3 years later, Antiochus decided that Jason wasn't Hellenizing Judea fast enough, so helped replace him with an even more pro-Hellenic priest, Menelaus. With that,
we're anesthesiologists, surgeons, emergency medicine physicians, pain management specialists. We're the largest provider of doctors into first-tier U.S.
so you had Jason, a wicked nigga that was replaced, okay, because he wasn't moving fast enough. You see, because Antiochus Epiphanes, that wicked nigga, all right, he wanted Jake to just be completely freaked out, man, turned out, okay, and it was to the point where you go into Menelaus, okay, he is actually a Benjamite, okay, he was actually a Benjamite, showing you how off the priesthood had gotten, because the priesthood was supposed to represent, okay, the presence of Yahweh Bashim Shai in the earth. All right, because you go into the Hebrew word lawyer, all right, for Levi, it means joined to me. Okay, Levi had the office of communing, okay, being the mediator between the Most High, all right, and the nation of Israel. But look how off it's done gotten to the point of Benjamite, okay, didn't have the office of priesthood, okay, was the high priest. You see, Jake was way off, man. That's why we had to be rededicated. Okay, just like in these times, our leadership was way off. We had to be rededicated through this word, man. Okay.
settled Antiochus then marched with his armies into Egypt, aiming to double the size of his empire by seizing the Ptolemaic heartland. While the king was preoccupied, Jason seized his opportunity and returned to Jerusalem, initiating a counter-coup and expelling the deeply unpopular Menelaus. However, Antiochus's campaign was cut short when the Roman Republic intervened on behalf of the Ptolemies. Unable to match the strength of the legion, the king was forced to retreat to Syria. Already utterly humiliated by Rome, Antiochus's mood turned wrathful when he found out that his subjects in Jerusalem had rebelled. He stormed Jerusalem with his army, slaying the supporters of Jason and reinstating his puppet Menelaus as high priest. He then left Apollonius in charge of subduing the city, who accomplished his job by dismantling the walls of Jerusalem and building a fort named Acra on the nearby hill of Ophel, so everyone could gaze upwards and see the symbol of King Antiochus's power. Rather than leaving good enough alone, Antiochus began to actively exterminate Judaism, forbidding the people of Judea from observing the Sabbath, circumcising their sons, or performing other rituals. He had the Holy Temple in Jerusalem converted into a temple of Zeus, within which he personally spilled the blood of a pig, a deeply sacrilegious ritual to the Judaic faith. The king declared that the Jewish people should begin worshipping the Greek gods. Hellenized Jews accepted these changes, but many others did not, resolving instead to fight. It is here that the Maccabees enter our story. Our story now shifts to the small Judean town of Modin, where a local priest, Mattathias, and his 5 sons lived. They belonged to the relatively minor Hasmonean family and were deeply Orthodox Jews who had remained true to every tenet of their religion, even as their countrymen became increasingly assimilated into Greek culture. Sometime in 167 BC, a Seleucid official arrived in Modin and compelled the townsfolk to offer a sacrifice to the Greek gods. Mattathias refused to make this offering, and another one of the townsfolk, a Hellenized Jew, stepped forth to do so in his place. Flying into a rage, Mattathias drew his knife and murdered his countrymen before he could perform the ritual. The priest then cut down the Seleucid official as well, and destroyed the pagan altar for good measure. Knowing they would be branded outlaws, Mattathias and his 5 sons fled into the nearby hills, followed by many like-minded Orthodox Jews known as the Hasidim. From there, the fight had begun. While Mattathias died sometime in 166 BC from causes unknown, he would be succeeded by his 3rd son, Judah, a dynamic young commander who, through a mixture of ferocity, ruthlessness, and bravery, would come to be known as Maccabeus, a word deriving from the Aramaic Makkaba, the hammer. At the early stages, the rebellion was not a struggle between Jews and Greeks, but a civil conflict between pro- and anti-Hellenic Jews. The Maccabees began their movement with a terror campaign, launching lightning raids upon predominantly Jewish towns. They killed many of their own countrymen who they considered too Greek, burning down their homes and destroying the pagan altars where they worshipped. Most notably, they rounded up the sons of Hellenized Jews and had them forcefully circumcised. The message was simple: Greek culture was to be purged from Judea. Before long, the Maccabees had earned the attention of the military governor Apollonius, who resolved to crush the rebels before they could sow any more chaos. In 167 BC, after gathering a local army of around 2,000 men in Samaria, Apollonius marched south to the Gophna Hills, where it was said that the elusive Judah was hiding out. Here, the Maccabees proved they were capable of more than just murdering civilians and burning altars. Knowing they were outnumbered and out-equipped, Judah deliberately lured the enemy army deep into his native territory, where the hilly terrain made it impossible for the Seleucids to form up into their Macedonian phalanx. With only 600 men, the Maccabees surrounded and ambushed the Seleucid forces just outside the town of Wadi Haramir, routing them off the field. Apollonius was killed in the fighting, and Judah claimed the fallen commander's sword, wielding it as a symbol that his rebellion had been blessed by God. The Maccabees followed up their victory with another in 166 BC, ambushing an army of 4,000 Seleucids led by Seron at the Beth Horon mountain pass. These two victories would set the theme for much of the revolt, in which smaller, poorly armed contingents of Maccabean warriors would utilize terrain-based guerrilla warfare to consistently outwit the well-armed Seleucid armies that outnumbered them greatly. Later that year, Antiochus IV was forced to take the bulk of his armies eastwards to deal with a Parthian invasion, putting the local governor of Syria, Lysias, in charge of quashing the growing Jewish revolt with limited resources. Despite this,
every day.
Lysias managed to field a significantly large army of some 10,000 professional Macedonian-trained soldiers. He put two experienced commanders, Gorgias and Nicator, in charge of this force and sent it into Judea. The Hellenes set up an entrenched camp at the town of Emmaus, while Maccabeus responded by leading around 3,000 Jewish warriors to the adjacent town of Mizpah, where they fasted and prayed to God to deliver them victory in the battle to come. In the days that followed, some of the local anti-Maccabean Jews informed the Seleucid commanders where Judah had set up his base. Seizing the opportunity to catch his enemy flat-footed, Gorgias rallied some 5,000 infantry and 1,000 cavalry and marched for Mizpah. However, his heavily armoured Argyraspides were slow and cumbersome, and their presence was soon picked up on by Maccabean scouts. Rather than face Gorgias's force head-on, Judah decided rather ingeniously to abandon his camp, taking advantage of his army's speed and maneuverability to skirt around the expeditionary force and strike instead at their now more sparsely populated camp at Emmaus. Taken completely by surprise, the reserve forces in Emmaus were either slaughtered or routed, and their supplies looted or burned. After failing to find any rebels in Mizpah or the surrounding hinterlands, Gorgias returned to his camp, only to find it aflame. Seeing this, the morale of his army was crushed and they fled for the coast. Reeling from yet another decisive defeat, the high priest Menelaus in Jerusalem, with the support of Lysias, attempted to bring Judah and his cohorts to the bargaining table, offering to repeal some of the more egregious anti-Judaism laws of Antiochus. However, these negotiations failed, for the Maccabees would accept nothing less than the total eradication of Hellenization in Judea. By 164,
So as you can see, all right, how Yahweh Shem Al Shai is pretty much, has Judas, all right, Maccabee as the leader, all right, of this righteous rebellion. And you see that he's pretty much like a genius in military strategy, all right. And also the Lord's favor was upon them, where they was able to just run through the Greeks, who was or had more men and was way better armed, okay. Which shows you that what if a brother can get Psalms, and this is the energy we take into this time, man. Okay, because we're outpowered carnally in every way. Okay, but through our power, we will we're way beyond. Okay, we're more than able. Okay, let's get Psalms 44 and Psalms 44 verses 4 through 7. Psalms 44 verses 4 through 8. And let's get think that's Romans 11. Let's get Romans 11. Yeah, let's get Romans 8 and 37. And let's get First John chapter 4, verse 4. All right, so let's get these and let's get back to it. Yeah, that's a spirit too. Brother Yashima tribe of Judah. All right, this is the brother Bayan Yasha'Allah. This Psalms 44 and 4, it says, Thou art my king, O power, command deliverance for Jacob. Okay? And see, victory starts in the spiritual realm. Whoever has favor, who's ever, prophesied to have the victory, who's ever predestined to have the victory in the spiritual realm, it just plays out in the earth. Okay? And that's why our hope is in everything that's written, because it's already decreed in the spiritual realm. All right, for our victory over the devil, man. Psalms 44 and 5, it says, Through thee will we push down our enemies through thy name. All right, and that name goes into authority as well. We will tread them under that rise up against us. Okay, because it's ordained by the Heavenly Father. Okay, for us to have, all right, that victory, man. Okay, verse 6, it said, For I will not trust in my bow, neither shall my sword save me. Okay, weapons of men. Okay, it's going to be through a higher power. The Maccabean military, they was operating on a much higher strength, much higher frequency than the men of the Greek militaries, man. Okay, they had a much higher frequency and strength. Okay, awareness. Most I had them turned everything on 99, man. A bunch of creative players. Okay, then they had the wits, the smarts and the strategy to go with it. Okay, and it all came from Yahweh Shema Shai. Verse 7 said, But thou hast saved us from our enemies and has put them to shame that hated us. Okay, and that's why, verse 8, in the Most High we boast all the day long and praise thy name forever. All right, Salah. Okay, so this is the energy that we're coming in this time, man. We know that it's going to take Yahweh Shema Shai to intervene in our situation. Okay, and through that, okay, we're unstoppable. The Israelite man is unstoppable when he's full of faith, all right, and obedient to his power. Unstoppable. Okay, this is Romans 8 and 37. All right, this is the brother. All right, Tazamak. All right, GMS Memphis camp. All right, it says, Nay, in all things, we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. Okay, we're more than conquerors, man. Okay, and Most High is about to set his men up to conquer in the earth, man. True victory, man. Conquering, literally conquering, okay, the earth. We have a true victory to come, man. And then we're going to have the new bodies. We're going to be able to conquer ourselves, man. All right, conquer sin. This is First John, all right, 4 and 4, all right, 144. It says, Ye are of the Most High little children and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Yeah, so if we're of, that house of David, that hopeful elect, the portion of Yahweh Shai that's in each brother is greater than any power that's in the earth. Okay? And Jacob Trouble, he's just going to turn the knob up on that power. Okay, so we can deal. The Most High not gonna leave us out here naked. Okay, in the times to come when we're gonna need that power, man. Okay, so let's let the rest of it play. All right, we'll go.
4 BC, Governor Lysias had taken it upon himself to assemble and lead an army of some 20,000 men in Antioch, leading them south through Idumea and the valleys east of Gaza to a town called Beth-Zur, where he encamped his army in the local fortified citadel, hoping to strike at the Maccabees' southern flank. By this point, Judah Maccabeus had some 10,000 men under his command, his numbers having swelled as the reputation of his victories grew. Nevertheless, he was still outnumbered and outgunned by Lysias's army, so he stuck to tried and true tested methods to best his foe. Historical sources are vague on how the Battle of Beth-Zur played out, but it seems evident that the Maccabees spent the next few months harassing the Seleucids through hit-and-run tactics, striking at foraging parties, patrols, and any platoon of Syrian Greeks unfortunate enough to be caught outside the town's citadel. This was never enough to earn a decisive victory, but it was enough to keep Lysias and his army consistently on the back foot. The status quo changed in late autumn, when in the Far East, the Seleucid Epiphanes contracted disease while campaigning against the Parthians and died. The monarch's death meant that his son, the 10-year-old Antiochus V, was now Basileus of the Seleucid Empire, and there would be no small amount of courtiers willing to influence the young boy for personal gain. Suddenly, Lysias's priorities had shifted, and he was compelled to return to Antioch to secure control of the infant king in order to keep his power and influence in the royal court, which meant that the campaign in Judea was over. Due to his persistence, cunning, and some plain old luck, Judah Maccabeus was victorious once more. With his victory at Beth-Zur, he was able to march his army more or less unopposed to Jerusalem, which, ironically, he was able to stride right into because the Seleucid governor Apollonius had destroyed its city walls a few years earlier. Following this, the Hellenized and other Seleucid loyalists retreated to Acre. Now firmly in control of the holy city, the Hammer of Judea entered the temple, destroying the altar to Zeus and the idols that had been erected during the reigns of Jason and Menelaus. His youngest brother, Jonathan Apphus, was installed as the new high priest of Judea. Among the sacred objects to be restored was the menorah, a golden candelabrum whose 7 branches represented knowledge and creation. It was supposed to be kept burning every night, but its light had been extinguished during the persecutions. However, the temple had been so thoroughly pillaged that there was only enough oil to keep the candles of the menorah burning for 1 night. Despite this, once lit, the candles burned bright and true for 8 full days. This supposed miracle of God is the cornerstone of Hanukkah, and to this day, when Jewish communities around the world light 8 candles on their menorahs, they commemorate each day the light burned for Judah Maccabeus and his freedom fighters. Jerusalem may have been taken.
Okay, so we see what led up, okay, to our people regaining the temple, restoring righteous order, setting up a righteous, high priest, okay, and rededicating the temple. Now Esau, so they try to downplay the miracles of Yahweh Shema Shai, talking about some plain look, it was vague, what happened. Well, no, we're gonna go into the account of what happened, my nigga. All right, Esau love try to downplay, the power of Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay, so let's get that in the First Maccabees 4th chapter, and you will read that, and we'll just read into it. All right, let's get the real skinny. It's good to see those things and understand the things that was going on. Okay, well, let's get a true okay account, a thorough spiritual account. All right, from what happened, man, what the Lord was doing on behalf, okay, of our people. Okay, so you can watch the rest of it. It goes into like I say, that era. You know, it goes into the, because after that, we still was fighting with the Greeks. You know, so it kind of goes into that history. So I'll just share it again. If you want to watch the rest of it, it's about 8, 9 minutes left on it. All right, well, let's go here. Okay, it's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1. Means like chapter 4, verse 1. It says, "Then took Gorgias, okay, which is the Greeks, 5,000 footmen and 1,000 of the best horsemen removed out of the camp by night, to the end he might rush in upon the camp of the Jews and smite them suddenly, and the men of the fortress, all right, were his guides. Now when Judas heard thereof, he himself removed, and the violent man with him, that he might smite the king's army, all right, which was at Emas, while as yet forces were dispersed for the camp. In the mean season came Gorgias by night into the camp of Judah, and when he found no men there, he sought them in the mountains, for he said, these fellows flee from us. And that's when Judas was going around that camp of the Greeks, all right, to go to the reserves, which was unexpected. But as soon as it was day, all right, here you go. Judas showed himself in the plain with 3,000 men who nevertheless had neither armor nor swords to their minds. Okay, let's get into the skinny. All right, let's get into the real. You know how somebody tell you a fluff story, but then somebody come back and tell you the real, how it really happened. Somebody come tell you a vague story about something that happened, but then somebody come back and say it like, nah, this how it went out. This how it led up to this point. This the details, okay, of what happened. You see, and this is what we're going into. And said, but as soon as it was day, Judas showed himself in the plains with 3,000 men who nevertheless had neither armor nor sword to their minds. And they saw the camp of the heathen, that it was strong and well harnessed and compassed round about with horsemen, and there were experts of war. Then said Judas to the men that were with him, and matter of fact, brothers can post precepts, concerning uh how the Lord's going to turn us into weapons, you know, with thee thou art our battle axe, Jeremiah 51, okay, that Isaiah is 41 and 15, second Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5, believe verse 18, 19, 20, one of them, when he said he's going to turn the creature into a weapon, because we didn't have nothing, but they was well armored, just like now. Esau is well armored, and compared to what he got, we don't have anything. And even if you do got your little gat, okay, your little chopper or whatever you got, there's nothing compared to what this man has. Okay, and the Lord gonna have to turn his people up, man. He's gonna have to turn his men up. Okay. All right, this is the brother Bayon Yashala, Jeremiah 51 and 20 said, thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy, okay, kingdoms. You see? The Lord's going to put his spirit, he's going to raise a standard. Okay? We're going to be his battle axe, his men. It's going to be like the Lord is using weaponry in the earth, man, through his men. You see? Verse 22, it says, with thee also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with thee will I break in pieces old and young, and with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. Okay? Gonna be running through, okay, gonna be running through this society, man, with that power. Okay? Let's see, the brother Put that wisdom. Yep. It's the brother Yashima tribe of Judah, wisdom of Solomon 5:17 said he shall take to him jealousy for complete armor, all right, and make the creature his weapon for the revenge, okay, of his enemies, okay, and that creature is the Israelite man. All right, the Most High is going to weaponize the Israelite man with spiritual powers, man. Okay, so let's keep reading. It says, verse 8 said, then said Judas to the men that were with him, so like he said, fear ye not their multitude, neither be ye afraid of their assault. Remember how our fathers were delivered in the Red Sea when Pharaoh pursued them with an army. Now, therefore, let us cry unto heaven, if peradventure the Lord will have mercy upon us and remember the covenant of our fathers and destroy this host before our face this day, that so all the heathen may know that there is one who delivered and saved Israel. Okay, so these prayers are going up. Now the documentary ain't gonna go into this part where our forefathers are praying into the Heavenly Father for victory and to showcase that He's dealing with Israel. Okay, then the strangers lifted up their eyes and saw them coming over against them. Wherefore they went out of the camp to battle, but they were with Judas, sounded their trumpets. So they joined battle, and the heathen, being discomfited, fled, okay, into the plain. Howbeit, all the hindmost of them were slain with the sword, for they pursued them unto Gazara and unto the plains of Idumea and Azotus and Almani, so that there were slain of them upon 3,000 men. This done, Judas returned again with his host, all right, from pursuing them, and said to the people, be not greedy of the spoils, inasmuch as this battle, all right, as there is a battle before us. So he was like, look, that was a victory, but it's not over. Don't get carried away. Don't get content. Stay on point. And Gorgias and his hosts are here by us in the mountain, but stand ye now against your enemies and overcome them, and after this you may boldly take the spoils. Brother can get that in Jeremiah 30 and 16. Brother can post that. It says, in Judea was yet speaking these words, then appeared a part of them looking out of the mountain, when they perceived that the Jews had put their host to flight and were burning the tents, for the smoke that was seen, all right, declared what was done. When therefore they perceived these things, they were so afraid, and seeing also that the hosts of Judea in the plain ready to fight. So they see, all right, these Greeks see, all right, that their camp is on fire, and then they just see all those Israelite men in the middle of the field, and you can understand the energy that was on them, man. Okay, and Esau was in the mountains, and he didn't want to come out. Okay, he didn't want to come down there, man. Okay, he seen Jake down there, wasn't playing with his ass. Okay, the spirit of the Lord was on him. Okay, and Esau was in the mountains peeking. Okay, hell no, And it says, verse 22 said, they fled everyone in the land, all right, of strangers. Then Judeans returned to spoil the tents, where they got much gold and silver and blue silk, all right, and purple of the sea and great riches. And after this, they went home and sung a song of thanksgiving. This the real Thanksgiving, man. Victory over Esau, Edom, man. Okay? This the real Thanksgiving. It says, and praises the Lord in heaven, because it is good, because his mercy endureth forever. Thus Israel had a great deliverance that day. Now all the strangers that had escaped came and told Lysias, all right, Lysias, what had happened. And when he heard thereof, was confounded and discouraged, because neither such things as he would were done unto Israel, nor such thing as the king commanded him to come to pass. The next year, therefore, following, Lysias gathered together 80 choice men of foot and 5,000 horsemen, that he might subdue them. Okay, so the report of the loss went back to the Greeks, and he's pissed because he don't want to take their report of loss back to the king, or he know he'll be through. Okay, so he's coming back. These Greeks are gearing up for round two. And it says, the next year, therefore, following, Lysaeus gathered together 70,000 choice men of foot and 5,000 horsemen that he might subdue them. So they came into Idumea and pitched their tents in Beersheba, and Judas met with them, all right, 10,000 men. And when he saw the mighty army, he prayed and said, bless. All right, and you see, there's prayer before the actual battle. There's a request being made in the heavens before the actual fighting. Okay, as we are making requests, before this thing gets physical, man. It says, and when he saw the mighty army, he prayed and said, blessed art thou, O Savior Israel, who didst, all right, who didst quell the violence of the mighty man by the hand of thy servant David. And that's why it's good to understand those victories that was given to our forefathers. It's good to read over those things, man. It's a reference points to, how the Lord always intervenes on behalf of his people. Okay. And gave us the host of strangers into the hands of Jonathan, the son of Saul, and his armor bearer. Shut up his armies in the hand of thy people Israel, and let them be confounded in their power and horsemen. Make them to be of no courage, and cause their boldness of their strength to fall away, and let them quake at their destruction. Cast them down with the sword of them that love thee, and let those that know thy name praise thee with thanksgiving. Okay? And now a Christian will hear this prayer and think it's wicked. Okay? And you gotta hug them. You gotta turn. No, man. It's a time. We in a time where evil and good finna clash, man. Okay, good and evil finna clash in the earth, man. Okay, and it's gonna get physical. It says, so they joined battle, and there was slain of the host of Lysias about 5,000 men. Even before them were they slain. Now when Lysias saw his army put to flight, and the manliness of Judas' soldiers, and how they were ready either to live or die valiantly, man. And you can tell when somebody, all right, ain't scared of death, man. There's a different energy when you gotta deal with somebody who don't care about dying, man. When you into it with somebody and they think about pretty much their life, and they don't want to lose their life, they're gonna be kind of timid and reserved, and but someone that's ready to die, especially for the cause that they believe in with everything they got, all right, it's gonna be a long day. You see, it's gonna be a long day, man. Even them Ishmaelites were telling, them American soldiers, like, yeah, y'all got the Air Force and these things, but on the ground, America was catching hell because them Ishmael wasn't worried about death, man. Okay, and certain little battles and skirmishes over there in the Middle East. Them Ishmaelites, look, you American, you care about life. We don't care. You see, you lucky you got air forces and all this weaponry. Okay, and it says, now when Lysias saw his army put to flight, and the manliness of Judas' soldiers, all right, and how they were ready either to live or die valiantly, he went into Antiochia and gathered together a company of strangers, and having made his army greater than it was, he purposed to come again into Judea. So yeah, he's seen Jake, out there standing firmly, boldly. Okay. And he like, shit. So he went to go get some more people. He saw a damn coward, man. Well, that's why when you take away this man witchcraft and his military, he's gonna be like, is this the man? Is this the nigga that ran the earth, had people shook? Had people tiptoeing on camera, scared to say particular things. Is this the man? Okay. It said, then said Judas and his brethren, behold, our enemies are discomfited. Let us go up to cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary. Upon this, all the hosts assembled themselves together and went up into Mount Zion. And when they saw the sanctuary desolate and the altar profaned and the gates burnt up and shrubs growing into the courts and in the forest, or in one of the mountains, yeah, and the priest's chambers pulled down, they rent their clothes and made great lamentation and cast ashes upon their heads and fell down flat to the ground upon their faces and blew along with the trumpets and cried towards heaven. Yeah, when they seen, the condition of the temple, they was, they were devastated. Okay. It said, then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary, getting all them wicked niggas out of there, man. And that's what the Lord is finna do in the earth now, man. Yahweh Shema Shai finna cause judgment to run through you wicked niggas in Israel, man. Okay? You wicked, all right, Israelites, man. Whether you know you're an Israelite or not. Okay? It says, so he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the law, who cleansed the sanctuary and bear out the field, defiled stones, and unclean places. We can get that in Matthew 5 and verse 5 and 6. And it says, and when they consulted what to do with the altar of burnt offerings, which was profane, they thought it best to pull it down, lest it should be a reproach to them, because the heathen had defiled it, wherefore they pulled it down. And see, that goes into also us being born again. Like, nah, just pull this thing down. They just started from scratch, like being born again, man. And it says, and laid up the stones in the mountains of the temple in the convenient place until there should come a prophet to show what should be done with them. Man. Ooh, and then that prophet is a capital P. That's Yahweh Shai, man. Until there should come a prophet to show what should be done with them. What's that? Psalms now there's Isaiah 60. Is Isaiah 16:10. Let's get that, man. Isaiah 62. Yep. Let's get Isaiah 62 verses 10, 11, and 12. Okay. We'll get these after we get the count. We'll run down the precept. All right. And it says, and they took whole stones according to the law and built a new altar according to the former. Okay. And where those stones are being built up now. Okay. Those lively stones. In 1 Peter 2, verses 4 and 5. It says, it made up the sanctuary and the things that were therein. All right. And the things that were within the temple and hallowed the courts. They made also new holy vessels, and into the temple they brought the candlestick, or they call it menorah, and the altar of burnt offerings and of the incense. Okay, and the table. And upon the altar they burned incense, and the lamps that were upon the candlesticks they lighted, and that they might give light in the temple. Okay, and we're that light now. You see, Matthew 5 and 11 through 13. We're that light. We're that candlestick. Okay, that's shining. All right, in the house, that house of David. Okay, furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table and spread out the veils and finished all the works which they had begun to make. Now, on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called the month Calcea, all right, in the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings, okay, which they had made. All right, look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it, even that it was dedicated with songs. Okay, we're singing that new song now, and citherns and harps and cymbals. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the power of heaven, and who had given them good success. Okay, and so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days and offer burnt offerings with gladness and sacrifice of deliverance and praise. They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold and with shields and gates and chamber. They renewed and hanged doors upon them. Thus was there very great gladness amongst the people, for that the reproach of the heathen was put away. Okay, the reproach of the heathen was put away, and that's what's being put off of us, man. Okay, to the point we hate the way that these people live in the earth, because that reproach that was what's on us is being put off us as we being rededicated to Yahweh by Shema Shai. That reproach, that old way of thinking, all right, has been put off us, man. Okay, it said, moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days, from the 25th day of the month Casuya, with mirth and gladness. Okay, at that time also they built upon Mount Zion with high walls and strong towers round about, lest the Gentiles should come and tread it down as they done before. And they set a garrison to keep it, and fortified Beersheba to preserve it, that the people might have a defense against Idumea. And now we have an offense against Idumea through this word. Okay, through faith, through obedience. That's a defense. You see? So let's go from there. All right, this is brother Yashima, tribe of Judah. This is First Peter 2:4 says, to whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of the Most High and precious. And this is Yahweh Shai. Okay. Ye also as lively stones are built up as a spiritual house. Okay, they rebuilt the physical temple, but now the spiritual temple is being built. We're built up as a spiritual house and holy priesthood. Okay, a righteous priesthood is being reestablished after the order of Melchizedek, which opens it up to all tribes, to offer spiritual sacrifices acceptable to the Most High by Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Okay, it's the brother Bayan Yasha, Isaiah 62:10. It says, go through the gates, prepare ye the way of the people, cast up the highway, gather out the stones, lift up a standard for the people. Okay, and that's what they were doing. They was lifting up a standard during that time. Okay, and guess what? Now we're lifting up a standard, and the stones are being gathered through this word. Okay. This is a dedication. This is a spiritual dedication. Okay. Verse 11 said, behold, the Lord hath proclaimed unto the end of the world, say ye to the daughter of Zion, behold, thy salvation cometh, behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. Okay. And we got a deliverance coming. You see, we have a deliverance coming, and it's through our dedication and faith. All right, that's provoking the Lord to do this great deliverance, man. You see, Isaiah 62:12 says, and they shall call them the holy people, the redeemed of the Lord, and thou shalt be called sought out, a city not forsaken. Okay, but that's pretty much the point. It's always a lot to go into. Just but summing it up in the spirit. Okay. These are the battles, that led to what we know as Hanukkah, and now we see in the spirit, okay, and this time, all right, that we're going to engage in battle, with the enemy Esau, Edom, and we have a victory promise, man, and we rest in that, okay, and this is the real Thanksgiving, that we have this word that the Lord has raised up, okay, his men, okay, with wisdom and understanding. Okay, to feed his people with knowledge and understanding. You know, the spirit of Yahweh dwelling. You know, we should be thankful for what Yahweh did. Okay, that's the thing to be thankful for, the sacrifice of Yahweh. Okay, and what he did, man. Okay, which had led us to this point here where we have victory, okay, over the enemy, man. And we're gonna be delivered. So Lord will you brothers and you few sisters edified. Till the next time, you know, say Shalom, Kwam Yashala, Abba, DTA soon, Shalom.